sponsored by HelloFresh. New year, new you. And a new you can start with better eating goals and habits. That starts right at home. HelloFresh makes it easy to plan out meals and prepare food at home with over 50 dinner options and more market items that suit any lifestyle. Easy to make meals that don't take an hour, and you can have all the variety you want shipped right to your door. Don't waste time at the grocery store or overpay for takeout and fast food delivery. Get one free breakfast item per box while your subscription is active. Stop going to work and school hungry. HelloFresh can take care of that also. Click the link in the description or use my code and get 10 free meals plus free breakfast for life. One breakfast item per box while subscription is active if you're in the United States. Outside the US, the local discount will apply. Support Rocked and set up your year with eating goals and taking care of yourself and family with HelloFresh. Welcome back to the Podcast That Rocked, weekly podcast that talks about news in the world of rock, metal, alternative, and everything in between. My name is Luke.
My name is Alex.
And my name is Rowan.
That might have been our smoothest one yet. Awesome to see. Thank you all so much for tuning in for the podcast. You may notice that the back of my wall looks a little bit different. Not because I'm at the frayed ends of sanity, it's because I'm moving. So I apologize for the lack of decoration. However, unless you wanted movie boxes to look at, I can't really help you. And everyone else on the podcast feed, you don't know the difference. Thank you all for tuning in. We already got one super chat. Thank you so much to the person that did that for Paul. You'll have another Paul Fest later. And also Paul Fest 2. Also, if we get 50 likes, we will do our festival Rock or Flop, a randomly booked festival. However, it will not be as random as the festival we'll talk about later, but we'll get to that when we get to that. So, thank you guys for tuning in. Hope you all are doing well. My lovely wife is in chat, ready to ban anyone that misbehaves. So,
yeah,
I know. The purge of YouTube commenters. So, with social media things shutting down and rules being displayed on other social medias, YouTube chats being banned and people getting kicked out, let's talk about some positive things. How's that sound?
Sounds great.
Yay!
Okay, first up, mega bands like Avenged Sevenfold cannot make money. Ooh, yeah. Did I segue that wrong?
Feel misled.
I know. It's a weird week like that. There is good news, but there's a two-parter in an interview that was done with Bradley Hall on YouTube, who did a great job getting M Shadows to talk. He talks about two things that have been well known, especially this first one. A band like Avenged Sevenfold, who had a fatty headline tour last year at the amphitheaters, they're even having trouble making money. I'm not talking like comfortable profit. I'm just talking any money.
Yeah.
It sucks. Did either of you see the Avenged Sevenfold tour last year?
No.
Okay.
I did not.
So it was promoting their album, Life Is But a Dream. I went to the fall one. I was brought out to shoot the fall one in St. Louis. It was fun. It had the biggest curved video board I've ever seen. It was the back of the stage and then wrapped around inward and then to the sides of the stage as well. Just one massive video board. So
cool.
It was really cool looking. I'll bet that costs money to put up and run and maintain. So that's way bigger production right there, but they utilized it really well. It was fun to see, and if it was not a full sellout crowd, it was more than close enough to warrant that audience. And I think that whole tour did that well as also. While I'm trying to look up pictures, I might have one from the back of the crowd. I don't know. It's worth it to say, though, this is a band that had their first album in years, a huge tour. They're not even making money on touring. What in the world are these other bands going to do? Ugh.
Yeah. If one of the biggest bands that we know of in, 2025 can't make money, then yeah, what the hell are the rest of us going to do?
Yeah.
Especially since, with everything, just the payout from, Spotify and other streaming services, it feels like venues and all that stuff and live shows was where, they made the bulk of the money anyway, right?
Absolutely.
Yes, bulk. Yes, and that's a great way to say it, too. Now, they can't even get the bulk of the money. And that's what's wild to me.
That is so wild.
So I want to read two quotes. Because, again, he had a good interview with Bradley Hall, who has a great channel on YouTube doing the rock and metal stuff. Do definitely check that out. Quote, Mr. M's Shadows, it's really crazy because when you get to our kind of level, everyone on the crew is A-list, meaning, techs, roadies, crew, sound engineer, production.
Top tier.
Yeah, exactly. And you would expect that, too. You would not expect locals to come in and just fill out, And they're all being pulled in different directions, so they make high-end amounts of money. More trucks, more drivers, more gasoline, more travel. And we've already seen a lot of bands canceling tours. You're going to see a lot more because I know where we're at. I know what we make, and I know that it's incredibly hard for us even. That is rough, considering we know they are capable of making a profit, but they're barely making it still, and this is a band that's had platinum albums and everything else you can imagine success-wise.
Yeah, again, to your point, they are like, in terms of popularity, they are in the top tier of metal bands.
Mm-hmm. And it's also the second quote I want to read for this, and this is also a fair point, not even just metal either, not for anyone touring. So yeah, it's one of those things where, again, going back to touring is very hard right now for bands. It's almost impossible. And you're also having a big downturn in ticket sales right now. People have been blown out by ticket prices because of the touring, because of the inflation, so everything stacks up on top. The blown out ticket prices also adds up big time. Avenged Sevenfold tickets were not cheap by design. That was those were at Live Nation venues through Ticketmaster. Not exactly the most generous company that's going to give away free stuff or discounts, you know? So add all that together, and even Avenged Sevenfold can't make money. Another quote from him: "It's kind of crazy to go see a couple bands and it's going to cost you $500-600. So if it's a country artist, it's $1,000. If it's Taylor Swift, it's $3,200 or whatever it is." Yeah,
I love that he dropped Taylor Swift. He threw like some like shit. Well,
like,
that's subtle. Like, he threw in like some shade in there.
Yeah, Taylor Swift's tour was a lot more expensive than Avenged Sevenfold, and Avenged Sevenfold's
roommate my ex roommate took out a second mortgage just to get tickets.
That's awful. I'm sure the person at the bank was trying to not laugh right in their face, but rightfully so. Yeah, I know. That sucks because now that we're seeing the bigger names have this issue, and again, this was from last year's touring and this year's touring too, because they're doing it this year. He talks about like when you're touring overseas, if you're going to make the same amount of profit, but you can expand your growth and expand your numbers and base, why wouldn't you go overseas to try it then? That's not a bad argument. Instead of touring the U.S. over and over again.
Yeah.
I mean,
and if you do a lot of like price comparison, that might be worth it to reach a new fan base that hasn't been reached by you yet or in a long time, and I mean, B, we know it's expensive even just domestically. So
yes, and it's probably not going to get better. Go ahead, Ron.
I couldn't help but read it as like we're outsourcing our fan base or something.
Oh. That's a way to look at it. You can be a fan of other countries' bands.
Well, it's like we're going to a third world country that has very little like metal like activity, and we're playing the Seeds or something like that. So we're just building our own fan base in a country.
I don't know. I'd be okay with having fans in another country.
Yeah, no, I'm not saying that's bad. I just like it's just kind of funny when I read it like that.
I'm hoping M Shadows didn't mean it's like we have to outsource our fan base so we can make more of a profit off the same amount of people. I don't think, like, I'm not going to say all business practices from Avenged Sevenfold have been top tier Robin Hood-esque, give to the poor, steal from the rich levels of attitude. But I'm pretty sure they're also not going, we need to capitalize on the poors. You know?
No, dude, I'm just joking.
I know you are.
Yeah.
So
I do got to say, though, I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
I do gotta say, though, because just, like, the situation kind of reminds me of... You guys know the story of, like, when The Wall came out, Pink Floyd's The Wall, when they did the tour for that. Even though it sold well, just because of the production, it lost money. Yeah. This is what I'm wondering, like, with how big a production the Avenged Sevenfold tour was last year.
Yeah.
Is it a thing where it's, like, you kind of have to bite the bullet, where it's, like, maybe scale back on things if money is seriously becoming an issue?
If that was the issue, then they probably would have saved a lot of money having a giant video board instead of a giant, all-encompassing, curved, and including side stage wrapping board. I mean, like, that's got to be their own technicians at that point, too, for something like that, I would think.
That's what I mean. It's like, yeah, I'm not going to tell you how you want your show to go and how much of an impact you want to have on your fans at the same time. But at the same time, too, that's like really, it's like, okay, if money is an issue, you do have to kind of like think about it. It's like, is this worth it? You know?
Right. Absolutely. Like the way I see it, one-off shows for doing the big spectacles like that are okay. Every single night, you're probably going to lose money. On the flip side of that, you have bands that are going to do the big stuff next year that have been doing it for decades that will sell. AC/DC is going back on tour for the first time in 8 years, something like that. Doing it next year. They're taking Pretty Reckless, look at the Pretty Reckless's production value on that tour. It's going to be fine. It's not going to be anywhere near AC/DC level, though. So
Yeah.
the Pretty Reckless should be getting a decent amount of cut of revenue, and their profit share won't be as hurt by all the crew. Then again, I could be wrong about that. AC/DC says just take whatever you want, use our video boards too. We don't care. I don't know.
Yeah.
You never know. If you throw it back, even, let's say, a decade ago, you know, well, at this point, a decade and a year. Let's take it back to like 2014.
Sure.
Avenged Sevenfold, at least when I saw them in 2014, I remember they still had like a ton of production value, you know, within their shows. They had like that giant king guy on the throne.
The king skeleton, yep, I remember.
Yeah, he massive, like overtaking the entire stage. That also had to cost a mass amount of money.
And they did that with the arena tour, yeah.
Yeah,
when I saw them, oh, sorry. I thought you were
No, I
done.
was just going to say, I was just going to say they've always had really high production value. So you would think that they would kind of work around that and budget for that, obviously. And I don't know. I know there's a lot of technology and stuff that goes into having one of those big, massive, curved video boards and all of the technology behind it. But I don't know. I don't see it costing too much more than a massive, giant skeleton guy and setting that up every night.
Yeah, I mean,
know, depending on materials, when you're working with electronics, just like all the smaller bits, all the smaller electronic bits to just make everything work, they tend to be more expensive than you realize, you know? That's just where
like
all
one
the
LED strip goes out and the whole thing goes out, you know?
Yeah, true.
it's like Christmas lights. That
Yeah.
one goes
Now,
out,
when
you have
I-
to get a whole new one.
Now, when I saw them, it was a pretty like stripped down show. Granted, they weren't headlining the show; they were opening for Metallica, but it was still like a very big stage. It wasn't even the Snake Pit and all that stuff, but it was still like a very entertaining show. So it's
Sure.
like they totally can just like again, if they just want to dial things back just a bit, just to save some money, just so they can live. They could. They're still like capable of doing that, in my opinion. Because I saw them when they really had no like big theatrics, and I was still very much like satiated.
Right. And my argument also goes back to, I know we harp on it a lot, the evil granddaddy of awfulness with like Ticketmaster and Live Nation. When you see something like that, how much of the price of tickets that are scaring people away, or not even scaring them, limiting from people to coming, because not everyone can afford to go to every concert anymore. Used to be like 20 years ago, yeah, you can go to whatever concerts you want, $10 a night, who cares? Standing room only.
It's kind of the catch-22. It's like you want to up the price just so you can make a profit, but at the same time, that price is scaring a lot of people away.
Sure.
Like they justify the price.
And the other problem is, too, how much of that huge ticket price really is going to the band and not to, or even the band, the crew, label, all that. How much of it's actually just getting taken instantly by Live Nation and Ticketmaster?
Yeah. And then you got to like pay the venue too as well. So it's like stuff just adds up way too fast.
It does. So there's no real good answer yet. And it sucks to say, I can't see a great answer for 2025. If anyone in the chat or one of you has a great answer or solution to this, please tell everyone you know. Because the sooner that gets resolved, the better.
I think really you just have to like, I'm not saying this as solution. Like, don't ask me like, to give like financial advice, but like maybe it's just like a thing where you just kind of like, you sit down, you figure out like what your costs are and like, maybe just try and like see like what can you dial back? What can you just kind of like, again, not completely cut things off so you don't have any theatrics, but just something where it's like, what can we do just so we could save like a little bit of money without compromising the quality of things.
And then you have bands that are trying to book the Sphere in Las Vegas and paying the Sphere just to play there.
Yeah.
So
I think if I were in a big old band like Avenged Sevenfold, I think it would be rad to do one of those tours where you do kind of dial it back. You don't need the big old video wall. You maybe don't need to be booking full-on stadiums if you're not selling them out in certain markets.
Sure.
Just book the bigger venues and know that you're going to sell out and budget around that. Okay, like we're going to sell out all these venues here. Let's budget and do production based around that. And I don't know, make some super awesome t-shirts.
And you could save
Yes.
even more money because you don't have to rely on getting the best in the business to make sure everything goes without a hitch because you're not doing like the crazy, like, scaled, like sort of like, stuff.
giant skeleton puppet with video boards shooting fire. Yes.
Yeah, no, seriously. It's like I saw They Might Be Giants at a bar or like just like a very small club, really. And it's just like it was a very stripped down show. I'm pretty sure they made most of their money because they didn't have much crew or something.
So, an example, and then we'll move on, of a band that does this great, Starset. This past year, they were promoting all this amazing stuff with their new singles, double video board that was tiered. So 4 members on the top tier, the 3 on the bottom tier. Both walls were video boards showing different stuff, visual projection. This was top-notch production, creative stuff. 2025, acoustic tour. And they've done this on and off for several years now. And they're playing smaller venues just for the acoustic tour. It's a VIP experience. You have to, so it's a limited amount of people, but people flock for it because you get the best of both worlds, and you don't have to worry about how much profit you're making on both. You can justify both then. So there are solutions to something like that for a band if they want to do it.
And that's something, and the acoustic set, that's something for like the super fans and all stuff. So you're guaranteed to get their money.
Yeah. So.
Yeah.
There's good examples of it. Thank you for the super chats. We will get to all of them near the end during the festival shenanigans as well. So,
Paul is a fucking G.
So, as we move on, same band, different topic. Roughly the same interviews. M Shadows was doing a cycle. So, when I say big Avenged Sevenfold hit that dumbed down their style, would you know what song I'm talking about? I was asked this the same way, and it took me a second to think. Can you think of an Avenged Sevenfold song that they intentionally dumbed down to make a radio hit?
Is it something off the latest album? Because like I listened to it and
No.
My brain goes to Nightmare.
Closer, but no, not even on that album.
Okay. What is it?
Hail to the King.
Dang it, that was my second guess.
Sure it was. So, Hail to the King was intentionally Avenged Sevenfold's attempt to have a radio-friendly song for time constraints. Not because it's PG or anything, but so that way it fits the perfect verse-chorus time format for 2013 radio. That was the exact intention. They were following the Black Album criteria for Metallica decades prior, and it worked. Because they were upset that none of their songs were getting pure total radio play, like Nightmare, which is 10 minutes or something. All their other stuff that was longer, they wanted that true radio hit. The issue that he's talking about, too, is that that's when they were called sellouts. So, my point of this, metal fans, you can never have anything nice.
I mean, people are just going to complain when they try to do something mainstream, but at the same time, too, it's amazing that like bands like Avenged Sevenfold and some other bands I could like think of where it's like either because they actually want to like get more exposure or because the label like forces them to, they play like a more like conventionally structured song or just kind of like something that's just kind of guaranteed to just be more appealing, and it's still better than like entire other acts, like entire categories.
If I can read the quote. So we started really cutting close, obviously, to wearing our influences very much on our sleeves in this sort of dumbed-down version of rock music. And that's not a shot on those bands because they do it brilliantly. They do it better than us, but we wanted to try our hand at doing something like that. It's very unnatural of us. It's not what we do. And they said they were following the Black Album and AC/DC style of music because all of our stuff, Avenged Sevenfold's music, was a little too complex, complicated, and a little too neoclassical. Boy, the latter of those 3 options is not something I would have paired with Avenged Sevenfold, but there you go.
Well, and it makes sense. If you dig into any of the rock radio hits over the past, I would say 3 decades at this point, I mean, he nailed it on the head. You do have to kind of follow that formula, which Metallica figured out. AC/DC knows it from pretty much from the start. There is a formula. If you want to make it in the rock radio world, you kind of got to fall in line a little bit.
The 2010s were notorious. Go ahead, Ron. Go ahead.
Also, I would say there's a sort of benefit to it too, because like if you are able to get like a more radio friendly hit, you do open the possibility that people who listen to that song, like, you know, they grow attached to it and want to learn and kind of like get more into the band, you know, so they kind of like, you know, go out and search for that type of thing. At least that was for me growing up with some certain bands, you know?
Absolutely. So I think I get what they're going for, but it'll just be interesting to see what other people say about stuff like this, because the natural response is pose or sell out. And that sucks. But at the same time, this is arguably their biggest radio hit and one of their best streaming hits that made them a lot of money. And it opened the doors and gateway for a lot of fans to check out their older stuff. So, again, you will never have nice things as a metal fan. Never, ever.
And you can't, because there's no way to win. If it's like, oh, sellouts, oh, you sold out. You did this radio hit song.
Mm-hmm.
What are you doing? Why are you doing this? We've been with you from the start. Whatever. We've all heard it.
Yeah.
But you have to appreciate, as a fan, if you're a true fan, you really have to take a step back and realize, okay, I am super stoked for this band that I absolutely love and admire and follow, because they now have this extra outlet and they're reaching potentially thousands, tens of thousands of new people just from this one song that made it on the rock radio.
Yeah. And I'll say this comment too, then we'll move on because we do have other stuff. My least favorite argument is they made this song I don't like, and it makes me dislike all their past material now in hindsight. That makes no sense, and I see that so much all the time. It's not as good as their old stuff. I don't even want to listen to their old stuff now. How does that make sense? Tell me how. So
how can you hate a song to that extent too?
Yeah,
really?
And you see that all the time.
Hates everything else.
Linkin Park. Perfect example. Now people are like, I don't even want to listen to Linkin Park anymore and support him because the new album was so bad and all this controversy, blah, blah. How does that affect what the past music was over 20 years ago?
Yeah. And that's the thing. It's like, you're a fake fan if you just jump ship because you don't like this one song. Let's just call it what it is. You're a fake fan.
Mm-hmm.
This is the exact type of fan that Tool was making fun of in that one song on Anima that I cannot say the name of out loud.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And yes, Maynard is aware of his own fan base too. That is one of the better things about Tool. He understands even he has fans like that. So, again, if you're a metal fan, you cannot have nice things. Whether that's ticket prices or just having a radio song. Forget it. So, we're going to move on to some good news. Actual good news this time, I promise. So, one of the bigger stories last year, Jane's Addiction, no more. They're done. Attempted fistfight on stage with a drunken Perry Farrell, no more. Well, you know what the good news is? The rest of Jane's Addiction said, screw it, let's start making music on our own, and Perry could sit outside for now. Yes.
Right.
They showed pictures of themselves in the studio. It shows Dave, Eric, and Steven in the studio with all these photos of themselves just jamming together, working on stuff. Yeah, you could do that. You're 3/4 of the band, and you're not the problematic ones. You can do that. That's fine.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of people already saying Perry is the voice of Jane's Addiction. I would rather have a different voice now than someone that's going to try to fist fight his own band members on stage for a lot of paying guests and paying ticket holders.
Yeah, you're not going to get a show either. You're not going to get a show with Perry, so you just got to let it move on.
Exactly.
Yeah. It's just like, also, I feel like it's good too because, like, did I say this, like, during the New Year's special where it's like, I feel like it would be, if what happened with Perry, if that was the legit final show of Jane's Addiction, that has to be so depressing for a fan to see the band you like go out like that. So just like something that's not the final sort of impression that Jane's Addiction gives to the world, I am all for that. That should not be the way a band that has been around for so long and has so many like fans, that should not be the way they go out.
And also, that was the image that stuck with them for over like a year, Like, you want to get that out of away from people. The quote was on the post from Instagram from Eric Avery. Writing some more new lines to some Stevens drumming. Looking forward to getting some Mr. Dave Navarro on them. 2025. And they wrote in the caption, Perkins also shared Avery's video of his Instagram. Basic, just showing them playing together and working together. Positive things. And now I want to open this up. If anyone in the chat would like to participate, what if they did a thing where they had guest vocalists just fill in for new stuff? Who could be a good fit? Because there's plenty of people out there that would work with the rest of Jane's Addiction for something like this, a one-off, that it's hard to really grasp because you never think of it without Perry Farrell, but it could totally happen.
I'm kind of thinking... I don't know why, but my mind went to Anthony Kiedis. I think it's just because the two, like Jane's Addiction and RHCP, have like a big history. You know, members have kind of gone between both bands. So
Sure.
I don't know if that was just if there was a singer I feel like would be open to it at least. That's a kind of a good start.
Sure. I'm thinking in the same time frame, but a little more chaotic, because some, not all, but some of Jane's Addiction can be a little more bonkers. I'm thinking Mr. Patton, Faith No More, and Mr. Bungle, and 700 other bands. And
That's probably better than what I said.
And like that could be something unique and fun, and it would actually make people happy. You know?
Mike Patton would be super fun. I think that's a rad idea.
So even just a song, even just one song, I think a Jane's Addiction featuring Mike Patton, you know? Like, come on. How could that not be fun? And you know they'd be up for it.
Oh, yeah. That would be fun. Let's do it.
Yeah, see, good things can happen with something like this, you know? And I'm not saying this is going to happen. This is too pie in the sky. Don't quote me on this, like, for saying, like, as something to look forward to. But in the early 2000s, when Rage Against the Machine was broken up and Soundgarden had been done for a couple years, what happened in the year 2000? Or 2002? Audioslave came and knocked down the door and shocked everyone. Arguably the best supergroup ever. And it worked for the rest of that decade. They did 3 albums. So you know what? Things can happen out of weird circumstances like this. So.
Yeah.
So. Here's hoping 2025 is the year of Jane's Addiction making some new things and making some new moves, and some things happen. So. Speaking of making some things happen and make some new moves, we got the unexpected news. We found out that one half of the singers of Butcher Babies left last year after a big shock. Well, she found a new home, and it's a lot heavier. A lot.
Yeah.
Carla Harvey is joining Lords of Acid.
Yes.
That's bonkers. That's intense.
So exciting.
Just going from Lords of Acid music to Butcher Babies music, and I'm not saying Butcher Babies music isn't heavy. I'm saying the tone of the songs and the meaning and the direction is way different. So this is going to be angry, fierce Carla all the time now.
I'm so excited. This is so cool. My favorite part about this whole story is Carla was a huge fan of Lords of Acid in the 90s. And so she's like, this feels like that. I don't know if you guys have watched the movie yet. I don't know if you did your homework, but you remember Rockstar? I was telling you about it with Mark Wahlberg.
Yes.
Where the dude is like in a cover band of the band and then he goes and joins the band. This feels kind of like that just because she was such a fan of this band in the 90s and now she's part of the band. It's so cool.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think that's appropriate too. And a Belgian band, if I'm correct, from Lords of Acid, is that right?
Yeah.
So this is a band that's been doing it a long time. I never would have guessed this one in a million years. No way I would have predicted it. Sorry, getting over being sick because, of course, it's cold out in the winter. But with Lords of Acid, I see this working. And I don't know why. I have not heard a note of any potential music. I'm just seeing as something fun and unique popping out of this. Her new album from Lords of Acid this winter, and will be joining the band on a 27-date US tour in June. So, fully a part of it. It's not just temporary filling in or just a one-off thing. Nope, full head first. Gotta say, that's impressive. I would not have seen this coming. I would not have. So.
And surprises.
Yeah, see, good things can happen. So, you sold it perfectly. Like she was such a big fan of the band, and then she got to be a part of the band. Good segue, kind of. That's what happened with Jay Weinberg from Slipknot until they removed him.
Oh.
He got his dream though, and he got a Grammy nomination. He was so good on the last couple albums. Jay Weinberg, now part of Suicidal Tendencies, let in on a little bit of a secret. He's been working on solo stuff for a couple years now. So Jay Weinberg is going to be releasing something new in 2025. His own solo project with some other people. I, for one, think that could be great. We already know he's a masterful musician, so.
Correct me if I'm wrong. Has it ever been known if he's played other instruments besides drums? I'm not all that familiar.
I don't know outside of this photo of him holding a guitar.
Okay.
I doubt I doubt he's such a poser that he's just holding the guitar and pretending like Adam Levine at the Super Bowl. So, so I'm gonna say he probably does know how to play. I want to see, okay, through the phase, New Year's resolution has never really connected with me. I've always believed in the power of intention and following through on setting manageable goals. One of my ambitions for 2025 is to record more music in the studio, starting with my own material I've been writing for quite a while, some of which I've been working away at since my early 20s. So this has been the long time back burner goal that he wants to put together. So, new Jay Weinberg solo stuff.
I kind of wonder if working with Slipknot has influenced his writing. Like maybe he's going to try and go for a similar sound or kind of like take elements that they usually incorporate, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I'm
very excited.
Did you guys hear the end so far, the latest Slipknot album?
Yeah. That was years ago, man.
Yeah, it was only a couple years ago, but still, the latest one. His drumming was a standout. I mean that from the, like, across the board, he was crushing it. And creative stuff too, not just basic fills to implement other things. No, he was a standout. So
true, yeah, but then when he first left, I remember like reading that a lot of the reasons why he left was because he was having a hard time performing like that on stage. You know, they had to use like what's the name of that device where it's like, oh my god, I'm blanking on it right now, but it's like a clicker or something.
It's like some click track. Just say a click track. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, yeah, good. I'm sorry, I was blanking on that thing. But no, yeah, I remember that being like the big reason why he left.
And hey, you know what? Things happen with that. And like when he was removed from Slipknot, it was a big shock. Slipknot has a new drummer. He's great. Jay Weinberg's doing fun, has had a lot of fun, he said, with suicidal tendencies. He's going to be okay. And I'm interested to see what hear what he has planned on for years now, you know? So.
It'll be rad.
Good little stuff. Now, if I'm correct, we're going to go to 2 festivals that got announced this past week. We're going to go to the weird one first and the fun one second. So that we work up to the good stuff. Now, before I get to the lineup and show it on screen, I want to say something about Boston Calling. It was last week when Boston Calling said they would be announcing the lineup this week. Boston Calling made a lot of posts and a lot of claims saying they understand the frustrations of the previous year. They saw the ticket sales not do as well. Well, so they lowered ticket prices this year. They're remapping their festival grounds. And they're making the main stage a giant rotating stage like they had at Sick New World. So that's their main stage. Just a constant flow of bands at the main stage. That's pretty ambitious. I like that the festival is taking a chance, right? Good things, right? Everyone on par with me so far. Everyone on board so far.
Yeah.
Okay, so yesterday, they announced the lineup, and I can comfortably say they stole our idea for having a random festival, and I'm a little upset about it.
We gotta get that trademarked or somehow. Can we go to like the patent office sometime? Can we just carpool there?
How can I know, but how can I explain, like, I want to trademark something random? I don't know how I'm going to pull that one off.
I don't know. It's like when AI artists try to copyright their stuff. You know,
there's an argument for that. I had to blow it up just because OBS is being weird and wonky with the lineup. Boston Calling. The Boston Calling's been going down for a long time. May 23rd through the 25th of 2025 at the Harvard Athletic Complex, right on good old Harvard. You're getting on Friday Luke Combs. Saturday Fall Out Boy and Avril Lavigne. And Sunday, Dave Matthews Band.
Oh, don't forget Vampire Weekend and Sublime there.
Oh, I also forgot Sheryl Crow and Tom Morello and T-Pain and TLC. There's a lot. There's so much. Like, it's hard to focus on too much because you don't know what direction they're going on. It's not just random by our standards. It's random across every genre and decade.
Yeah, it's weird.
Who's the Luke Combs and like and TP fan? I'm sorry, I cannot speak today. Who's the Luke Combs fan and the T-Pain fan out there who's excited for this?
For both of them.
What's that? Yeah, who's that guy?
That's the guy that booked.
All right.
Like, I love all of these bands separately, so let's just put them on a weekend together.
Like,
yeah, no, seriously.
Like, I'm never gonna know every single name on a bill. I don't know all the bottom opening bands, right? However, when I look at the lineup and say, "Oh yeah, I listened to that band on as a one-hit wonder when I was 5," like Spin Doctors, I'm like, something's not right, and that's what this whole thing looks like.
Yeah.
And I know it's mean, but at the same time, Dave Matthews Band is going to sell tickets for the live show, but at what point do you look at Boston Calling and go, this is it's not a divorced dad rock festival. That's not the right term. Chat, Alex Rowan, help me out. What's this festival? Not divorced dad rock, not yacht rock.
Midlife Crisis Fest?
Oh.
I don't know. You got some early a lot of the big names are like from the early 2000s. You got T-Pain and Avril Lavigne. You know, that's like the prime like 2000s or something like that. Everyone who was like a teenager in their 20s, they're like in their 40s now, so that kind of lines up perfectly. They want that nostalgia.
Midlife Crisis Fest because they're reliving the TLC and Spin Doctors phase, but they're also dancing to T-Pain, and then they get Sheryl Crow, you know?
I was going to say High School Reunion Fest, because it's like they just brought everybody all together back at once to reminisce.
And it's a high school DJ that booked it.
Exactly.
Like the DJ of those high school reunions, he's the one that booked all these things.
Well, look at this.
He's like
Avril Lavigne was really big back then.
Yeah.
Well, Fall Out Boy, let's throw them on there too. Oh, you know these kids grew up with Sheryl Crow with their mom.
I guess. Yeah, maybe.
You know what I want to see open for Fall Out Boy? Sheryl Crow.
Yeah. You know who I want to see open for Dave Matthews Band? Public Enemy.
Yeah, see,
so you get what I mean?
High School Reunion.
Oh no, wait! You know who I want to see open for Dave Matthews Band? Goth Babe.
Yeah.
We played.
Didn't you catch that?
Yeah, we played Goth Babe on our new music nights during those streams. It's not what you think it'd be. It's like a one-man alternative indie rock type thing. It's not goth and it's not a babe. It's very mislabeled.
Wow, sorry, I'm just looking him up right now. That is so much false advertising.
Yes.
This guy looks like a country singer.
Whatever you typed in Goth Babe into Google, I assure you the image will not match for the band. So
the first image is literally some dude holding his dog.
Yes, and he does that with the music videos. He plays ukulele sometimes. Oh yeah. So
He's on to something.
Yep. So Boston Calling, if that's your thing. However, over in Czech Republic, they do things a little bit different. Add this to reason 4,819 why European festivals are putting the US ones to shame. At Rock for People, which actually does have a lot of charity work with them, the lineup's so big and it's not even the full lineup and I can't even fit it on screen, will be June 11th through the 15th. June 15th, the special day, Guns N' Roses, just a solo show with Rival Sons. However, the actual festival, Day 1, Avenged Sevenfold, Day 2, Slipknot, Day 3, Sex Pistols featuring Frank Carter, and Day 4, Linkin Park, with a whole lot of other names filled in that really add a lot of variety. This is
more my type of festival, you know?
Yeah.
You got Poppy in there, you got Linkin Park, you got Lorna Shore, let's go.
Yeah. You also have
In Flames.
I would also like to point out you have Skillet opening up for Sex Pistols.
That's gonna be hilarious.
Someone in Czech Republic did that on purpose, just to cause trouble. That's exactly why they did it. So, this is the lineup though. Like you look at the smaller font names. There's such great stuff there. I love Creeper. I think they're great. You know, there's so many Poppies on there. You see so many other different names too. This feels much more fleshed out and direct and like actually marketed well, you know?
Yeah. This is actually a really good lineup. Like this is something we would probably go to.
This is something that has variety within rock and metal and alternative, but also feels like it belongs together.
Yes.
I can't get over the Skillet like Sex Pistols thing. I just imagine if John Cooper sings the My Faith, My Family song from that one reel, Johnny Rotten is just going to be like in the back just with his eye twitching or something.
I want to say Johnny Rotten's the one that won't be there, thankfully, because Johnny Rotten
bad.
No, that's where Frank Carter's coming in. And Frank Carter's great.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I love Frank Carter.
Yeah, Frank Carter's awesome. He's a great fit for that. But it's the rest of the Sex Pistols. They're going to have the same attitude that does not coincide with Mr. John Cooper.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
If anything, they're going to try to prank John Cooper and like lock him in his dressing room and trailer so he can't make it out to his stage on time. That's more in line of what's going to happen. But yeah, Linkin Park on day 4 with Biffy Clyro, Fontaines DC, Motionless in White, Sigrid. So there's like different styles right there that work. So, I can't afford to go to Czech Republic. However, if anyone's listening from or can get the word to the Rock for the People Festival, please let them know that we're willing to champion that. And if you could comp us flights, hotels, airfare, per diem for food, we might be able to come. Maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah, we might be able to swing it at that point.
Right. And by the way, before we move on.
I can open my schedule.
Someone just said, how unfortunate, my favorite band, In Flames, is right near Skillet. Even In Flames and Skillet don't mesh that well. Even that's a little weird. But wait, you know what? Whatever. I would still go. Don't get me wrong. If there's 5 bad bands on this I can't stand, I would still go to this.
I mean, like, I think I said it before. If they play the hits and they don't be too preachy, I would be totally content seeing Skillet, you know?
They'll play the hits, but you're getting the preachiness. You can't have You cannot have your cake and eat it too, sir. No.
That's great.
Yeah. So you are. I'll remember this was 2013, the Carnival of Madness tour, which is Shinedown's thing back then. This is when Shinedown had like the whole carnival act, and they had like fire breathers and sword jugglers on stage with him at all times. It was fun. So on there was first In This Moment, fresh off the heels off the Blood album, singing Horror. Then they had Skillet coming out and praising Jesus. Then they had Papa Roach being intentionally raunchy. That in a process every single day. That was like one of the first bigger shows I ever shot in my first year of photography.
That's cool.
Yeah, so that little combo. So it's not like Skillet doesn't know what they're in for. So, yeah.
Been around the block a couple times.
They have. They definitely have.
You got to be aware of like what these bands are like, though, right?
They're
not going into these completely blind.
Exactly. They know. They've been around the church parking lot a few times. They know the difference between unfiltered and filtered cigarettes, and you should say no to both.
What?
Yeah.
What was that?
That's my dad church PSA. Oh man, some of the old the churchy PSAs that you would see, it's like, if you ever see a half-empty beer can, you know what to do, right? You don't touch it, you tell an adult. That type of stuff.
That adult just picks it up and is like, oh, hey, free beer.
Like, oh gosh. What, is it like a ballpark and the team's losing? And it's just like, I need a drink, can't get away from me. Ugh.
Yeah. No, it's
Guys,
like...
on YouTube, there are so many of those like church PSAs aimed at children that will blow your mind. So many. And they're all... I mean, they were all over in the 90s. They were all over in the 90s. I'm surprised no one else remembers these. I can't be the only one.
I'm trying to remember what PSAs I got. I think all I got was that, like, just like the most like basic stuff, like, oh, hey, don't do drugs, don't cuss, don't do this, wherever, don't eat meat on Fridays, whatever.
Oh, it's like the full Catholic style. Okay, see, like the don't do drugs thing. That wasn't even a churchy one. I'm talking about the more churchy stuff. It's like, you know what you should be doing on Sunday morning, right? Not sleeping in. And then you see a kid like putting on his tie and getting ready for church. That type of stuff.
I don't think I watched enough TV as a child because I didn't see any of this stuff.
Oh yeah. Oh, it was all over too. Like you would see it like on Saturday morning cartoons, like one of the little PSAs that they tried to buy advertising for. So, oh yeah. So now before we go on to our super chats, thank you so much. And also we just barely hit our views, so we have 2 festivals to book. I want to do a back and forth. Look at Rock for People line up on screen. Enjoy it. And then look at Boston Calling. And realize why I always make these comparisons of European festivals and American festivals. Does everyone get it? Okay. I'm just saying, I feel like Rock for People is going to sell significantly more than Boston Calling this year. And I'm not saying Boston Calling's going to do bad. I'm just saying Boston Calling's not anywhere near the same caliber. Does that make sense?
Honestly, if we kind of throw it back to our first conversation with M Shadows, if ticket prices are as astronomical as we say they are in the U.S., plus hotel, plus travel, let's just all go to the Czech Republic to go see this one instead.
Yeah, if you're going to spend that much money anyway. Also, Boston is crazy expensive. It probably is cheaper to fly out to Czech Republic now that I think about it.
But I'm saying, ticket prices are probably lower.
Yeah,
flights.
Food.
And you can make just like the concert like part of the trip and just like take an extended vacation to the Czech Republic.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Live it up while you're there. Why not?
Yeah,
dude. Absolutely. Like literally, like we just got off the holidays and all stuff. During like Christmas, my aunt at the holidays was going to story about like how like a bunch of her friends, they went to like New Zealand to watch Coldplay, but because they were in New Zealand, it's like, oh hey, let's just do all this other stuff besides just go see Coldplay. So they toured where they shot Lord of the Rings and all that stuff.
Yes,
it was like,
my wife is probably going like, oh Luke, don't get ideas. No, don't get any ideas.
We're going to do the podcast that rocked from the Shire.
Oh my goodness. Okay.
You're just smoking a pipe next to Gandalf or something like that.
Okay, on screen right now is one of my wedding photos. We got married and there's like a little hobbit hole. And during our wedding, my walk-in music was the music from the Shire when I walked in. And that's where everyone was sitting. And when everyone was sitting down, it was this peaceful music from Lord of the Rings. Yeah, that's right. Top that, nerds.
Oh yeah. Okay, so we got to do it. We got to relocate for at least one episode.
Let's just go to New Zealand. Okay, where if we're just like a different location? Luke's in the Shire. Alex and I are in like Barad-dûr or something like that.
Elrond. Yeah. Okay, we got to set the bar a touch lower. Okay, maybe not New Zealand first right off the bat.
Well, maybe this Czech Republic festival. We can make that happen.
Honestly, that's somehow is more feasible. New Zealand is not an easy trip. Not saying it's not worth it. Of course it would be, but man.
We'll start with Rock for People. We'll start there.
Yeah. We'll settle for Rock for People. Fine. The podcast that rocked from Isengard? Oh. Well. Don't send me into Mordor. No, thank you. No, thank you.
Well, you don't want to be in Isengard either. Like Sauron just T-forested the whole thing.
Yeah, maybe not. No.
Yeah.
Nah.
Also, by the way, do you really want to be there in case the tree ants attack too?
Most of them are nice. They would know not to attack us. We're not orcs. All right, that's enough Lord of the Rings nerdery. We got business to take care of.
Yeah.
Special guest Treebeard.
Yes. We have 3 festivals to book now, thanks to all the super chats. Thank you guys so much. First off, from Paul, when you were doing more regarding the past or which albums, I would like to see a debate between Def Leppard's Hysteria and Pyromania and Metallica's Ride the Lightning and Master of Puppets. Okay, no regarding the past in the future that I can see for the foreseeable future. However, do you guys have a preference? Ride the Lightning or Master of Puppets?
Personally, I'm more of a Master of Puppets kind of gal.
Okay.
Kind of depends on the mood I'm in, you know? It's just kind of like,
that's fair.
Here's the thing, when it comes to like most bands, my favorite album is just whatever I'm in the mood for, and that kind of just changes on a dime, where it's just like, oh hey, I'm listening to this album a lot more lately.
Sure.
Yeah, but I'm going to say maybe Master of Puppets, just to actually give an answer.
Okay. Mine would be Master of Puppets also. I made a video about that years ago. I put a poll, just a quick little poll in the chat, vote if you like. Ride the Lightning or Master of Puppets. Chat, let us know. We'll let you guys decide. As we go on to more, Paul also asked, Avenged Sevenfold can host an underground show. I think they have. I think Avenged Sevenfold has done like the small, like the Bat Club. I don't remember what it is, like for their events, their fan club. I think they've done the small underground shows before.
Yeah, like what Linkin Park did for the...
Yeah. So they could. They are definitely aware of the issues of production and ticket prices. They do good by their fans. I'm not going to... They're another band that actually does go out of their way to make sure they get what their bargain is. So, like, they get their money's worth. Go ahead.
Also, by the way, too, with the underground shows, you could do like a thing where it's because this is more in line for like super fans. You could have this like at home, or at least like the city where they're all based in. That's got to help with costs way like easier.
Does. Yeah.
So like you can control more stuff.
Sure. Yeah. The getting all the production there, like where other people are located too, is not like a flight. Not everything needs a flight. That's going to save thousands right there. So. It's
a small scale show just for like all the super fans who love the music. You don't have to fly people out. You don't have to get like the best in the business. All the people coming in are probably the whales who spend all their money on like all the special editions of every album.
Yeah.
Anyway, so
but they're gonna love it the most though. So why not?
Exactly. Yeah. It's completely catered to them.
Also from Paul, who is ready for Midlife Crisis Fest?
Oh, thank you.
Paul, thank you for validating my choice.
I know. I'm really thinking, like, looking at the Boston Calling thing again. I don't even, like, if I had to go work one day, not just visit or attend, but actually work, I don't know which day I would even pick.
Dude, easy. Avril Lavigne.
I guess.
Boy.
Is that the right choice? I guess. I'll take your word
me,
for it.
at least, yeah.
Okay, fine. I won't argue it. I'm just saying I don't know. From Shadow Swill. Is that the name? Yeah, Shadow Swill. Skillet does have a non-preachy set they can play. Also, let's get a Shadowfest this podcast. Shadowfest, you got it. That's a fun name, Shadowfest. So every time I've seen Skillet, you got a little bit of preachiness no matter what. It's not always over the top. Like, not stop the show. Let's talk about the Savior. But you'll always get a little bit.
It's not Bono levels of preachy, though, right?
That's Medal of Freedom winning Bono. Thank you. He just got that. So, topical. See, the podcast that rocked is aware of current events.
Way to squeeze that in, Luke.
Yeah, you're welcome. Shows. I hope that helps the algorithm. Okay, I think we're set. We have 53 likes. Thank you so much. Please keep hitting the like button. Thank you to all the super chats. We got 3 days worth of festivals to book. We're having a Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Can we out-random Boston Calling? It's time to find out.
All order.
Alex and Rowan, are you ready?
Yeah.
All right, let's do it. Every week when we hit the like goal or people do super chats, we book a festival at random. Sometimes they're great, sometimes they're terrible. More often than not, at least for the last couple of months, we mostly had some solid choices. So, that being said, we're going to have 5 bands per day, 3-day festival. First day is just Rocked Fest, just the basic day. What's the name of this festival? Will this
Basic Fest.
Basic Fest? Oh, okay. You know what? This is, we'll have this as like the measuring stick. Basic Fest. Exactly. Yeah. Let's go here.
Placebo Fest.
Uh-huh. Bam. Where did you go? There we go. All right. Band number 1 for Basic Fest, day 1. Explosions in the Sky. I personally love that. They're all instrumental group. They did all the music for the Friday Night Lights movie and TV show. And they did so many amazing albums. They played on Late Night with Stephen Colbert, all these other shows. Great stuff. All instrumental, great stuff. Fun fact, Anthony Fantano, the Needle Drop, big channel on YouTube. He has an Explosions in the Sky tattoo on his arm. The greatest promotion you could ever have in your life. Okay. Band number 2. Bring Me the Horizon.
Ooh.
Basic Fest is looking pretty strong so far.
Dude, I've been on a Bring Me the Horizon kick recently. Yeah. Empire, I've fallen in love with that song again.
Okay. Not
bad.
bad.
When that happens.
Yeah. Number 3. Wage War.
Ooh, nice.
All right. That's pretty complimentary.
That it definitely is. Basic Fest is actually stacking up pretty decently. Number 4. Memphis Mayfire.
Ooh.
Okay.
That's an underrated band in my opinion.
I think they said they have a new album coming out this year too. I thought they said that. I could be wrong. So
yeah, their 2011 album, that was in terms of metalcore, that was high up for me at one point when I was younger.
Band number 5. We just spoke about him at length. Avenged Sevenfold.
Gotta say though, this is a pretty consistent festival. This is like the exact opposite of Boston Calling.
We tried to book a random festival. We booked a less random one that was actually booked in real life.
This isn't even This isn't even random at all. This actually feels like a legit festival.
Avenged Sevenfold, Bring Me the Horizon, Explosions in the Sky, Wage War, and Memphis Mayfire. Would you go, Alex?
Yes.
Rowan? Yes. I'd go in a heartbeat. There's nothing that would keep me from this one. Everyone in the chat, yes or no, all caps, type yes or no. Let us know right now. This screams money. Avenged Sevenfold has this lineup. They're going to make more touring money, more profits. They just can't do the big curved video board that's like 60 feet high. You know, cut down on that, and then you're just raking it in.
Oh, this is a good festival.
Yeah.
This is literally just a day at Louder Than Life festival for DWP. Honestly, kinda. Yeah, it might have already happened. I'm seeing yeses across the board. This looks unanimous. I see one maybe. You know what? An F yeah. 90% metalcore. You know what? Regardless of the outliers, that's an A. Come on now. That's too good.
I now actually want to go to that festival. I will do that if we can actually make that happen.
Second day, Paul Fest. Last time we had Paul Fest, it did pretty good. Here's band number 1 of Paul Fest, our day 2. Lamb of God.
Ooh, strong start.
Coming out swinging. Band number 2. New Year's Day. Band number 3. Asking Alexandria. Have not heard.
We're getting all the metalcore bands.
We're getting a lot of metalcore. It's interesting. Band number 4, Stone Temple Pilots. This is with Jeff Goot. And band number 5, Nothing More.
Another good lineup.
Yeah.
Lamb of God, Nothing More, Stone Temple Pilots, giving all the hits from the 90s. There's some pretty good stuff here for Paul Fest, I have to say.
Yeah. That's good.
New Year's Day, Asking Alexandria. Chat, would you go to Paul Fest? Alex, would you go?
Yes.
Rowan?
Yes.
I would too. There's nothing on here that would warrant me not going. And has anyone heard or what was the last new thing we got from Asking Alexandria? Was that
They had an album, I think, I want to say
2023?
I think I want to say 2022. They had one in 2021. I know that.
Yeah.
Or at least I think I do.
Even if I haven't been a
Yeah.
fan of the recent stuff from them, I would still go to this festival and see them live, and I would still see this whole show live.
Yeah,
It's
I was really into them. Oh, sorry.
No, I was just say, Lamb of God setting everything on fire at the end. That's great. Yes,
Yeah,
yes. Paul of Paul Fest said this is a masterpiece. So we apparently booked the appropriate festival for the person paying for it. You know what? 2 for 2.
Yeah.
Very nice.
I would skip Asking Alexandria. Oh, come on. They're good.
They're like, if you're going to go get a drink, fine, but I'm not going to stay away from the whole set. They're fine. Come on.
Yeah. I used to be into them a lot more when I was in middle school. I haven't listened to them as much recently,
Yeah.
but I used to love them at one point.
We're not-
They hold a special place.
Last festival day, day 3, Shadow Fest. Band number 1, Chevelle. I like it. Starting strong. Number 2, 100 Gex. Actually, didn't we have them last week?
Who are 100 Gex again?
They're a man and woman duo. They're hyper alt rock indie pop. It's like that kind of. It's ADHD core. How does that sound? That's what this music is. Yeah. Number 3.
Yeah, we did have
Feeling.
We did have them last week, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so let's skip them because we don't want to do back-to-back weeks. So, band number 1 was Chevelle. Number 2, Cane Hill. I'm a fan of Cane Hill.
You're good.
More metalcore, but still they're good. Number 3, Korn. I think we're getting a hit with Shadowfest. Number 4, Fall Out Boy. Doesn't quite match. However, it's still going to bring
Still a
people
good
in.
band.
Yeah. And number 5. This has been interrupted by none other than Borat, who has now demanded the festival will be a great success. Add a second day to Shadowfest.
Right. I mean, it is good.
Shadowfest is now a 2-day event with the bands we've already listed. 5 more bands. Here we go.
Imagine we get all the good ones in one day and everyone in the
Everything
second
else
day
sucks. Hey, it's a good one so far. Shaman's Harvest.
You're good.
Great sound to them. Number 2, Butcher Babies.
Oh,
Nice.
we know who's going.
Yep. Number 3, Electric Callboy.
Yeah.
My
Oh,
wife,
yeah.
my wife is already bought tickets. Number 4,
Right.
Rage Against the Machine. I will be accompanying my wife.
Thank you, Borat. This is very nice.
Borat became Santa Claus, apparently. And number 5, Greta Van Fleet. So this is random. This is the actual random festival. However, it's worked.
Yeah, it's all good.
Everyone in the Rage Against the Machine, Korn, Electric Callboy, you know.
Grant Van Fleet. Oh, sorry. Grant Van Fleet's an outlier, but you know what? As someone who's seen them live, they put on a good show.
They put on a really good show. Like, they are talented. You know, they can play through the jam band session. So, who's all going? Alex?
Yes.
Rowan?
Yes.
100%. Shadowfest turned into a huge success thanks to Borat, and now it's a spectacle. It has to be booked. Someone just said, thank you, Borat. Let's go, Borat. Rage could be playing with anyone, and I literally would still go. Yeah. Yeah.
I feel like that'd be Alex's like thing with butcher babies.
Yeah. Shadows, the person that just gave the super chat to do this festival said 100% would go. We're 3 for 3. Borat's always a gamble, but this time he paid off perfectly.
Thanks.
Lesson learned, always trust Borat. That's the lesson,
No.
right? That's the lesson? Boy,
It's a terrible lesson.
I was going to say, a lot of people have gotten burned to the detriment of their entire career because of that message. So,
is it cool of like it in the world that this festival actually happens? We need to get like Borat on stage just to sing the national anthem like in the movie.
In his swimsuit.
Yeah.
Not the swimsuit.
Yeah.
And here's like the ice cream truck with the bear in it.
Mm-hmm. Do you want the fest? Do you want Rage Against the Machine in court or not? I mean, I do. If that's what it takes, I'm not going to say no.
Yeah.
I mean, I'll still go. But...
Right? We don't have to be there present front row for that. You know.
At least not front row.
Yeah, not in the splash zone for Borat. Borat splash zone. Ugh.
Borat splash zone. That sounds so disgusting.
Yeah, I know. I apologize. I'm getting over the weather, and I told you my brain is fried from moving. So, before we say goodbye, I want to thank you all again for the super chats, all the likes, all the comments. Thank you guys again. Keep telling your friends. If every person listening live right now told one friend, our audience would double. So, thank you guys so much. Alex, you have anything you want to leave with before we get your words of wisdom?
Nope.
Rowan, how about you?
Well, I want to announce real quick that I actually had made a video based on a certain frenemy of the podcast. I'm dropping the link right now. Let you know, everyone, I stayed up till like 5 a.m. finishing this video, and then I had to like work like 3 hours later. So if my brain's fried, and it shows in today's episode, that's why. But if you guys just want like, just a little bit more rock media after this, it would be like awesome. Yeah.
By the way,
you can see some familiar faces.
That schedule that you said just for a YouTuber, that makes you a YouTuber now, trying to edit while you're trying to find sleep. That's the hustle.
Yeah.
So, everyone check that video out. I'll share out the video tomorrow with the podcast and stuff. So, that being said, thank you so much. Content will be scarce through the next couple weeks because, again, I'm deep in the process of moving. However, we'll return. We're not going anywhere. Should be back next week for the podcast. I'll have other videos after the moving is settled. That being said, Alex, can you actually get us with one of your jokes? Or will this be another swing and a miss?
I don't know.
First one of the new year.
Oh, that's
what
right.
did the bra say to the hat?
What did the bra say to the hat?
Yeah.
I have not even a clue.
Rowan, anything?
Nah, I got nothing.
You go on ahead. I'll give these two a lift.
Oh, goodness. That is actual dad joke. Like, it's not bad enough to warrant a fog hat horn.
Your was good enough for me. I feel satisfied.
Like, okay, you know what? A compromise.
Golf clap.
Get a golf clap? Oh my goodness!
The polite golf clap, because I never would have gotten that.
Oh, God.
Way to start a new year, right there.
That's not a dad joke. That's your uncles who you try not to talk to at the holiday.
Okay, you know what? You're right. That's the weird uncle joke. However, I never would have come up with that or an answer for that. And it does follow under the pun line, because that is, you go on ahead, like, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, if we haven't started the new year off correctly by now, this is going to be a long year, but we're going to make it. Thank you so much, everyone. Welcome to the new year. Buckle up, everyone, because even we don't know what to expect anymore. Thank you, everyone. See you next Tuesday. Share out the links. You go on ahead.
Tomato emoji.
Oh, that wasn't a tomato emoji worthy. We've had tomatoes on here. Come on now.
Well, what's funny is that they're asking me a question. They have do we throw the tomato?
Yeah.
No, save your tomatoes.
Save them.
Save your tomatoes.
We'll have use for them. We'll have use for them another week.